Hey guys, welcome. This is Brad Krantz. Welcome to my Monday morning leadership. Today we're continuing with the 78 important questions that every leader should ask and answer. We're looking at questions that leaders need to ask themselves. And today I'm going to cover part 2, answering how do you feel about being a leader? Again, just for quick review, by now we know that leadership is more than a skill set. I said this last week. Real leadership is a combination of well-honed skills combined with an open and gracious spirit. So how you feel about being a leader will always influence how you act as a leader. And again, self-confidence is huge in your success as a leader. You certainly have to feel confident, feel capable, and feel worthy, all of that, right? Yet I can't help but to take a step back again, just summary from last week, what drives how you feel as a leader? Is it self-confidence alone? And as I mentioned, no. Many people with self-confidence are not good leaders. Of course, we see this all too often. Check last week's message for a little bit more on this, but I'm going to suggest strongly that it is the characteristics of leadership that provide the true foundation and thereby manifest themselves in how you feel as a leader. So how well do you manifest the characteristics of a leader would be a question I would throw out. I did on YouTube, I've got my series, the 21 Indispensable Characteristics of a Leader from John Maxwell. I did that over several months. It's there. You can check it out. Everybody defines leadership differently, but I really like the way John Maxwell defines it, that a leader is one who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. Irrespective of how you define a leader, he or she can prove to be a difference maker between success and failure. So I want to look at a slightly different list again, and keep in mind how you feel as a leader. That question, keep in the back of your mind as we look at them. And I'm going to ask these as a series of questions. So starting off with number 8 is delegation and empowerment. You can't do everything right. So I would ask, how are you at delegating and empowering people? That's empowering's huge with me. I was so empowered after I left my job. I told my wife this here last night, that since I left my job here a year and a half ago, I felt so empowered because I was so, I want to say, corralled where I was at. I didn't get a lot of good positive feedback. I didn't get a lot of good acknowledgement about my skills, my abilities for sure. But getting around the right people, you can feel empowered that you can do more than what you thought you could do. And that's where I'm at 60 years old now, being able to feel, knowing that I can do more than I thought I could, right? So it's important for a leader to focus on key responsibilities while leaving the rest to others. You got to delegate. You can't do everything. And that's a good leader knows how to delegate. And part of that, by that, we mean empowering your followers and delegating tasks to them, as I just explained, empowering people to take leadership, right? If you continue to micromanage your subordinates, it's going to develop a lack of trust. And more importantly, you will not be able to focus on important matters as you should be. And people, especially people like myself, don't like to be micromanaged. Tell me what I need to do, then empower me, trust me enough that I can go do it. But if you're going to micromanage and check in on me and be double, behind my back or double checking everything I'm doing, that's not going to work. And we don't want to do that as leaders. So it's really important there. You want to delegate tasks to your subordinates and then see how they perform. Okay, provide them with all the resources and support they need to achieve the objective, and then give them the chance to bear responsibility. We do that in our business. We have a training app. We tell you what you need to do, how to do it, but it's up to you to actually go through the proper training to learn what you need to learn. I can't help you do that. I can't be the one to go through it all when it's all available for you, right? So number 9 is creativity and innovation. What separates a leader from a follower? That'd be question 1, but how good are you at showing forth creativity and innovation in your leadership? Steve Jobs was one of the greatest visionaries of our time, and he answers this question this way. He said, innovation distinguishes between a leader and a follower. And I have to agree with that. That's a good way to look at it. In order to get ahead in today's fast-paced world, a leader's got to be creative and innovative at the same time. Creative thinking and constant innovation is what makes you and your team stand out from the crowd. I'm proud to say that that's what we're doing in our business, and innovation with online marketing and working with a top-notch software developer and a top-notch marketer to do what we're doing and what people say you can't do to be able to do it. We are taking advantage and we are innovating within our industry because we've got some great leadership, and I'm glad to be a part of that. So you've got to think outside the box, right? The proverbial box, and come up with unique ideas and turn those ideas into goals and reality. And number 10 is empathy. This is really critical. I've talked about before, listening requires, not only leadership requires listening, but listening should lead to empathy. If you're listening to your people, hearing what they're saying, then you should be able to empathize with them. So I'm going to ask, how good are you at empathizing? We could back that up again and say, how good are you at listening? Okay, because those two, I think, really go together. So we've got empathy, right? Leaders should develop empathy with their followers. But again, you got to listen to them and know what's going on. I want them to really be able to do that. You got to care. Unfortunately, most leaders follow a dictatorial style and neglect empathy altogether. I want to call that like old style management leadership, right? That you do what I say and only what I say. But that doesn't fly, guys. And that doesn't lead to empowerment. When you got somebody dictating what to do, they don't have to empathize. They tell you what to do and they expect you to do it. Well, that might be great if you're in a military situation or whatever, but people like me that are entrepreneurs, we don't like that type. And that's not the type of leader I want to be with people that I work with in my organization. But due to this, they fail obviously to make a close connection with their followers. Not surprised there, right? So understanding the problems of your followers and feeling their pain is the first step to becoming an effective leader. Even that's not enough until you work hard to provide your followers with the suitable solution to their problems. So you got to help them out. It's hands-on type thing. Number 11 here, we've got resilience. So, when the tough going gets tough, the tough gets going, right? So how well are you at resilience? You might have heard this adage many times, but did you know that great leaders also follow this rule? They're resilient and have a positive attitude. There we go. Irrespective of how difficult the circumstances might be, you will find them rallying their followers. While most people are busy complaining about the problems, great leaders always focus on solutions, not the problems, right? And you've heard that over and over. It's a saying that I love, is that I want to be part of the solution, not part of the problem. And so many people don't get that. They're part of the problem and they offer little, if any, solutions. So be part of the solution, not part of the problem. Number 12, we're going to talk about emotional intelligence. I'm not going to get in real deep on this, but this is a good one. How is your EQ, emotional quotient, right? Emotional intelligence versus your IQ. But you got to have emotional intelligence. And what we're talking about here is good leaders always have higher influence, but how do they increase their influence on a point where people accept what they say? Again, it kind of goes into a lot of the other characteristics that we've already talked about. They do this by connecting with people emotionally. Again, it's going to require listening and empathy to do that. That's where emotional intelligence comes into play. So here's some of the reasons why a leader should be emotionally intelligent. It's not an exhaustive list by any means, but it'll give you an idea. You have to manage your emotions effectively, right? You can't get over emotional. You have to have better social awareness. You have to have seamless communication as much as that's possible. And you have to be able to work at conflict resolution. So with emotional intelligence, leaders can control their emotions, which prevents negative emotions from influencing their decision-making skills. So as a result, they're less likely to make hasty decisions. They're not wrapped up in the emotions. You got to be able to think logically. And as a business person, if you let your emotions run things, probably going to make hasty decisions or maybe not good ones. Number 13 here is humility. So how are you at being humble? How humble are you? Pride makes us artificial and humility makes us real. That's from Thomas Merton. Pride makes us artificial and humility makes us real. How would you feel when you're promoted to a leadership status? How would you feel? Okay, you would feel proud, I'm sure, right? A good leader is always selfless and they always think about this, with his or her followers, okay? And that's why leadership styles most leaders adopt put a lot of emphasis on problem solving and team dynamics, okay? Instead of focusing on self-promotion. Then number 14, we've got transparency, okay? One of the best ways to win the trust of your followers is by being transparent. How transparent are you? Instead of hiding information, you should share openly with them, okay? By giving visibility to your followers, they will buy into your vision and support you with conviction and achieving goal. If you're open with them, they'll be open with you. It's kind of a reciprocal thing. More importantly, it gives your followers, a certain amount of clarity and autonomy, and it makes them feel, keyword again, more empowered while keeping them engaged. And isn't that what it's all about? When your people are not empowered, they're not engaged, and if you're holding back or they sense it and they can tell a lot of times, they're really not. It's really hard to build that empathy and all the other things that I've talked about, right? So number 15, last one is vision and purpose. You know, leaders need to have vision, and they definitely have to have purpose. How are you at vision? How are you at purpose? Good business leaders create a vision and articulate the vision passionately, own the vision, and relentlessly drive it to completion. That was by Jack Welch, ex-CEO of GE, recently passed away. I think that's a good way. Good leaders always have a vision and purpose. They have to. They not only visualize the future themselves, but they also share their vision with their followers. You have to. If the followers don't know where you're going or trying to go, it's pretty hard to follow. So leaders have to communicate vision with their followers. They got to do it through empathy and all the other things that we've talked about, listening and all that. So when followers are able to see the big picture, they can see where they're heading. You know, again, if you don't know where you're heading, it's kind of hard to focus and knuckle down. You know, a great leader really goes above and beyond to explain why they are moving in the direction they're moving and shares a strategy and the action plan to achieve that goal. So in answering the question, how do you feel about being a leader? We need to understand something about the characteristics that make a good leader. And that's where I think, again, so many times in the corporate, the business world, people are, again, in management positions or promoted there, put in a quote leadership position. They're probably just level one leaders. People are following you because you're positioned, but the corporate business world hasn't done a good job about teaching and training people on what leadership is and what makes a good leader versus just all of a sudden you're a leader and you're supposed to know what to do. That just boggles my mind. That how can that possibly happen? If you don't know, if you're not trained, how can you possibly be as effective as you could be? And that's what I'm talking about. I want people to be effective in their leadership and actually know how to lead and care for people and all these other things and these 15 characteristics that I've talked about. But you have to know about them and they have to be ingrained in you so that they can flow out of you, okay? So to join if you want to call it the elite club of good leaders, I'll just say good leaders as opposed to bad or poor, you got to have all these qualities, right? The 15 qualities. And if you lack some of these qualities, then you might struggle to make the mark in the world of leadership, like I just indicated, okay? You have to set a good example for others to follow. Lead by example. That's where commitment, passion, empathy, honesty, and integrity all come in play. And these are crucial to leadership. Good communication skills and decision-making capabilities also play a vital role in success and failure of a leader, okay? Lastly, innovation and creative thinking, as well as a futuristic vision, are a couple of leadership qualities that make up good leaders. Guys, thanks so much for joining me here today. I appreciate that. Put up here my screen share. Hit that subscribe button if you got value out of this message and you'd like to be informed of or notified of future messages. I always do a Monday morning leadership. So if you like that, please, again, hit the subscribe button so you can be notified of future videos that I'll be doing. You know, join me next week. I'm going to be talking about topic 10 strategies for entrepreneurs in dealing with failure. Also, in the meantime, you're more than welcome to connect with me on social media on the links that I will provide. I'd love to connect, chat with you. Feel free to field your questions, comments, responses to this video. I always appreciate the feedback. Have an awesome Monday, guys. We'll talk to you next time, okay?